and it sees this and it goes, well, that's kind of a hot mess. So what the algorithm starts doing then is it starts moving frequencies in time, millisecond or two back here, forward here, to account for what's going on in the room, to counteract the room. Then when that algorithm's finished, which takes about 6, 7, 8 minutes, depending upon all that needs to be done, it automatically downloads it back into the eye control.
Now, Legacy uses, of course, the term wavelet as well for the processor they've developed, and they do the very similar thing where everything is uploaded to the main database or to the main, and then it's sent back for correction. Is any relation at all?
Yeah, it's similar. Yeah. We both use Bomer technology.
Okay.
Bomer Design is a Swedish company that designs that part of the room control.
Okay.
Yep, we both use that. So then, when you measure our room in Connecticut after the algorithm's down there, this is what it looks like.
What you've got.
So the room is pretty much straightened out. Now the real bonus is, so now the phase is where it's supposed to be. But the cool bonus is it also affects the frequency response in the room. It smooths the room out too at the same time. So you get both, you focus on what we think is important, and you get a bonus.
Now the measurement is at 48 inches in front. What is that? What is magic about that distance? And say not like where you actually have the listener.
Because what's magic about it is the algorithm needs to know certain things. It has to have a constant. It has to know it's 48 inches from the tweeter for the wave launch, and then it has to know how far it is from the floor. So the algorithm needs to know those things in order to measure the phase. And because it works at an 80 millisecond window, that gives time for the sound to bounce all around the room and for it to check on the phase. So it doesn't, that's what's magic about it. That's what it's set up for.
So if the phase is made correct at that point, it'll be correct.
It's corrected for the room. Yeah.
So what is that distance again? 48 inches?
48 inches from the tweeter.
Interesting.
inches off the floor.
So that's pretty far away anyway.
Yeah, it's
4
feet.
Yeah.
And if the speakers are, 4 feet, 5 foot into the room,
Right.
then that distance is added.
But it's right on axis. The mic is set up.
Yeah, you point it to where your ear would be, sitting in a chair. So right now, if that was going to be your listening seat, it'd point about here, the mic would sit.
Okay, so it's a quasi listening position measurement. It's just you're defining it because everybody's listening position is going to be different.
Right.
You're saying I need that constant. At least give me that. Yeah.
For the algorithm to understand.
Right. It's a quasi room position measurement, really.
Sure.
A smart way to do it though, because now you've taken some variables out of the equation.
Exactly.
No, that's smart. This is impressive technology.
Now, generally, of course, one speaker has interference with the other speaker. So when it's done, one speaker is completely off, and only the one channel you're measuring is on.
Correct.
That's how you do it. Okay.
It measures one, measures the other, and it corrects each.
Yeah, because your room could be
together though. That's what really happens. Then you get the reaction with both.
Yeah. Well, you do get the reaction of both, but you actually get what it is. The speaker each speaker creates its own mess, and then the mess gets summed up. So if you correct the mess from each speaker, then there's nothing for it to sum.
Then there's no general sum mess,
Right.
is what you're saying.
Yep.
Okay.
And you could probably in your algorithm account for that summing anyway. Summing without the correction.
The algorithm's way smarter than me.
Yeah, I'm sure he corrects for that summing anyway, without correct. Yeah, this is interesting. Very cool stuff. I think this could be the future of speakers.
We think it is. I mean, obviously we went down this path, and it's a hard road to hoe because when you look at a show like this, a lot of people are really looking. A lot of people here are as much into their components as they are into listening to music.
Yeah.
I mean, it just.
You want to see the gear, the amps, the fancy stuff.
I want to see all this
Right.
stuff.
They're busy chasing mice around the room with cables and this and that. When there's a big old gorilla standing there, and the gorilla is the room.
Exactly.
And you're dealing with the room.
Yeah, you're dealing with what matters.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
to be fair, what you're saying is to some people that doesn't matter. Like they want the cool stuff.
Yeah, they just want the jewelry, and I've had a ton of equipment.
Yeah, everybody likes that. I agree. Yeah,
I'm as bad as
I'm in that boat too. I like cool stuff. But yeah, if you don't address this aspect of it, you're really not ever hitting the
By
ceiling.
integrating everything, we have so much control. That's how we get these speakers to play down in the 30 hertz range.
Yeah,
Because we control everything.
you control it. Yeah.
And it also brings the cost way down. To get this kind of performance, you easily have to spend twice as much, if not more, maybe 3 times as much, because you don't have some of the technology, but you have to buy extra chassis, you have to buy extra transformers, you have to buy
All those passive parts.
all these
Yeah.
things.
Solder them. Have somebody
Yeah.
check them.
So your system gets a lot more expensive because of all the things that you don't buy because you're not integrated.
Now the amplification modules inside, which Class D units are they?
These are ICE modules.
They're ICE.
Yep.
Okay.
But it's Bang & Olufsen.
Yeah, B&O. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, thank you for
we listen
that.
to a bunch, and we like these. And there's, some people say, "Well, I like the high packs," or "I like this," or "I like that." Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah. Well,
Each
thank you.
driver has its own.
No, in this speaker, the two woofers have one amplifier, and the tweeter has a separate one.
Okay.
But in our speakers out, because the timing is the same on these two woofers. In our floor standing speaker, the tweeter has one, the mid-range has one, the front woofer has one, and the back woofer has one. Because the back woofer, although it gets the same signal as the front woofer, it fires 3 milliseconds earlier. And that allows the woofer, the sound wave, to wrap around the front of the speaker and then summon at the front.
Yeah.
So that's why we have to have 4 of them on the floor standers.
So would I be correct in saying as well, a lot of people may have experience with B&O ICE module amps, but they're driving a passive speaker that has to drive a tweeter, mid-range, and woofer. Here, you're just using one for each type driver, which puts a lot less demands on that amplifier.
Yeah, amplifiers, I mean, they want to do as little work as possible. They're like everybody else. And when you start having to drive through big inductors and you're driving through capacitors, it changes what it sees.
And it's seeing different loads at different ends, a tweeter, a woofer. So this is actually dedicating an amp to each driver, which if you really are neurotic and you really are into that, this is actually a superior approach.
It's the way to go.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, a set of these in Wally tools and you'd just be insane, right?
Oh, well.
As far as being picky.
The analog guys wouldn't like the AD. Analog to digital conversion.
I think, I don't want to say without exception, but pretty close to all of our customers have a turntable.
Yeah, okay.
Almost every one of them does. Some of them don't.
And they don't mind.
They like it. They go, when I bought this, I was wondering how it was going to sound, but it sounds great.
It sounds even better than without the, My friend had DSP with his turntable and analog tape, and he kept it in.
Well, so
he can turn it off, You got it too,
I've got the tape.
You have analog tape and LP, and you still use an ADC.
Extremely nice digital front end, and I can still, of course, they each have their own character.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing goes away.
Yeah. Well, great job. Appreciate your presentation.
Sure. Well,
could have been better, but it's Sunday. No, this is good. Thank you.